Hi. 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 Hello? Hi. Can I get my music? Beautiful. Can you restart it for me, please? Thank you. Time. Specialty coffee is a culmination of trust, and it's built over small, intimate moments where we ask our customers to trust us, where we build community with each other, and where we trust all of the hands that help cultivate, nurture, and prepare our coffees. Before we get started, I have some cards on your left. I'd like you to think about the word trust and just write what comes to mind. These are just for me, so I can get to know you better. Please take a moment of intentional reflection to write these down while I get started grinding your coffees. All right, judges, if you could get ready to hand me those cards. I'd like to share with you a story about trust, and I hope that by the end of our time together, we'll all establish our own intentional trust. Our story begins where my coffee was born in Panama. It comes from Volcan at Finca Debra. Last year, I accidentally got stuck in Panama when I missed a connecting flight. I was traveling alone and nervous to navigate Panama, but fortunately for me, through a mutual friend, I got set up with two people I'd never met to show me around. I was apprehensive, but I didn't want to be alone in an unfamiliar place, and I trusted my friend. Fortunately for me, because I decided to place my trust in these two strangers, ultimately I got to experience coffee in a way I never had before. They eagerly showed me some of the beautiful sights of Panama City and took me to a coffee shop called Unido. It wasn't until I saw the menu that it hit me, because on the menu was a geisha. That's when it dawned on me. I'm in Panama. That's a Panama geisha, and I get to experience it here in the country that made geisha so famous. Because of a little well-placed trust, I was able to have this mind-blowing coffee experience that connected me with Panama, just like our coffee today. This beautiful geisha from Finca Debra. Now I'm just chilling these espressos for your signature drink that'll come later before I get started on your espresso course. Now, unlike my unexpectedly wonderful layover, none of these amazing coffees ever really happen by accident, even if it seems serendipitous by the time that we drink them. A lot of trust is placed in producers to maintain the integrity of these coffees while testing innovative methods that push coffee further. The processing method is symbiosis, which is our producer Jameson's unique take on a natural anaerobic. The whole cherries are placed in temperature-controlled sealed tanks and allowed to ferment for 100 hours. Now, 100 hours may seem like a lot, but you have to trust Jameson and his intentionality with his process. When I hand you your espressos, please observe the crema, but wait to taste. Jameson employs old world winemaking techniques to control the rate of fermentation for optimal balance. The classic geisha profile is amplified by complex and juicy vibrancy, which you'll experience in the cup as floral aromatics of cherry blossom, stone fruit like peach and fresh red cherry, citrus like orange. It has a light to medium weight creamy body, and it's kind of fuzzy like biting into a peach, with a pleasantly dry finish like cacao nib. Now, to ensure the optimal drinking temperature for your espressos, I'm using a laser thermometer. If you would, take your spoons and stir those espressos until it reaches 50 degrees Celsius. You can begin. You'll notice that as you begin to stir, and stir at least 3 times, as you begin to stir, the temperature might briefly increase. That's just because the laser is sensing deeper into the cup. You may begin. Enjoy.
Let's give it up for those espressos.
Today I set out to give you a truly exceptional milk experience. To do that, I had to balance my coffee and milk. So I started by taking a gallon of whole milk, which I reduced by 50% through freeze distillation. Throughout the history of barista competition, freeze distillation has been done with little context. So to gain a further understanding of what's occurring, I took my milk to a lab where a dairy expert named Carl Hollifield put my milk through essentially a milk refractometer. He was able to tell me that I increased the fat from 3.25 to 5%, which is where you get that amazing creamy texture and mouthfeel. I also increased the lactose from 5.56 to 8.26%, which balances that acidity and giving us flavors of cherry, melted ice cream, and milk chocolate, which reminds me of Cherry Garcia ice cream. Enjoy. All right, judges. So today, we've established context for trust with Jameson and with Carl. And now I'm asking you to trust me with our signature drink. I was inspired by Jameson's knowledge of the wine industry that affected his processing method. And I knew that a coffee this clean and sweet would be the perfect base to make a coffee take on a red wine. My challenge was to find counterpoints with the coffee to create something completely new, but with an intentional result. I started by adding 3.5 grams of red wine vinegar to my chilled Gesha espresso to highlight the acidity, which you'll experience as raspberry. I'm also adding 20 grams of a blackberry puree that I made by blending blackberries and straining them with a 100 micron sieve. This will take the stone fruit flavors you experience in the espresso and transform them to more deep red fruit flavors in your signature drink of pomegranate. I'm also adding 10 grams of a 2-to-1 dark brown sugar simple syrup to give more depth to the espresso and sweetness to balance that acidity, which you'll experience as 70% dark chocolate. I'm also adding, for the body, 40 grams of a separated chia gel that I made by taking 10 grams of chia seeds and soaking them in 300 grams of water and straining them. Chia seeds have high fat and protein, which provide gelling structures that add a slight viscosity to the beverage. This fat, protein-rich substrate ties the drink together by providing a foundation to hold up the flavor components of the drink. I'm serving this drink chilled, cool but not cold, in keeping with how one might experience a nice red wine. Lastly, I'm infusing the drink with a cherrywood smoke. Cherrywood is a slightly sweet and smoky, aromatic, and flavor. The tool that I'm using will infuse the drink from the top down, presenting an aromatic experience, but also integrating the flavors of the drink, further balancing it. When I hand you your drinks, please wait until I call time to evaluate them. For your drinking instructions, I'd like you to hold it up to your face and blow gently like you're blowing out a birthday candle. This will dissipate some of that smoke. The first sip will be quite smoky, but the second and third will be more balanced and wine-like, similar to a Barolo or a bourbon barrel-aged Cabernet, with a hint of that barrel char. I'd like you to swirl 3 times between sips just to ensure that the drink is fully incorporated. Please wait until I call time. Thank you so much. By nature, this industry requires placing intentional trust. In order to push coffee forward, we trust that producers, our community, and our colleagues have the same intentions that we do. And this well-established trust is naturally synergistic, setting the table for me, your barista, to create and share the final product of all of this established trust. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure serving you. Time.
All right, give it up for Elisabeth. Elisabeth. How are you feeling?
It's fast, speedy.
Before we get to your routine,
Yeah.
who did you put your trust in to help you out with it? Do you want to thank them?
So many people, yes. Okay, here we go again. Always Team Glittercat. Veronica and Eric over the years have helped so much, especially just so much of themselves they've given me this year. We're neighbors now, so that helps. Bug them for everything. Kyle, Black and White Coffee Roasters, coaching, being the bestest, helping me source this incredible coffee. Dayglow, obviously, Mr. Tom, if you're getting right here, for the inspiration, thank you so much. And obviously, of course, Jameson for the amazing, amazing coffee he produced here. Thank you.
All right. I feel like I have a lot of good questions.
Okay.
All right, but like the first one is the laser pointer temperature thermometers.
Yeah.
Like, what was the inspiration behind that?
Well, I think that flavor changes so much from hot to cool
100%.
in coffee. And a lot of us, over the years have tried to control how many times the judges stirring their espresso to make sure that they're all experiencing it in the same way. But it's not necessarily consistent cup to cup or person to person or how they stir. Like you saw today, they were already almost right at the right temperature when I sat them down, so I didn't really have to do much. So those instructions, if I would have said stir 20 times, would have been obsolete. So it kind of allows the experience to be more guided by the coffee itself.
What was different about this time competing than times you competed before?
Oh my gosh, just the immense amount of support that I've had. I think in the past, I mean, it's just been a completely different experience. Like just to be surrounded by like friends and coaches and people who really have invested a lot in me personally to help see me succeed, and just like a whole other level for sure.
All right, one last time. Give it up for Elisabeth. We'll be back after this word from our sponsors.
It takes intention, passion, and excellence to set a hospital